Hello, I'm Bernie Goldblatt, and this week's Torah portion is Mattot, which is about two subjects, vows and the Israelite war with Midian. Now, I'd like to talk about the second subject, but not about the Israelites' war with Midian, but about modern Israel, and about modern Israel and war and peace. Most of us in America support Israel, even if we're critical of some of the policies of the government, but most of all, we want to prevent war. We want to prevent suffering. And so I want to invite you to join me this coming March to do something about that, which I think may be one of the most important things I've ever done. This past May, I was with 15 congregants from Adath, and we went to the AIPAC Policy Conference in Washington, D.C. Now, most people don't really know what AIPAC is. AIPAC is not a PAC. It's not a political action committee that distributes money to elected officials. And it is not a right-wing group that takes a hard stand about policies toward Israel. Actually, AIPAC consists of Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Jews, non-Jews, blacks, white, Hispanics, Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist Jews, and even agnostics. Pretty much the alphabet soup of our population, not just Jews. But these are all people who care about the relationship between Israel and the United States. And that's what AIPAC is really about, the relationship between Israel and the United States. Now, how does that work? First of all, you attend a conference. This past year there were about 10,000 people, just a nice intimate group. And you hear speakers like Barack Obama, Harry Reid, John Boehner, Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, Eric Cantor, Jesse Jackson Jr., John Thune, Steny Hoyer, Martin Indyk, Dan Senor, as well as Benjamin Netanyahu and the former Prime Minister of Spain, who is now very concerned about Israel and its relationship with Europe. Those are just some of the speakers that we heard. We also took classes from the leading experts on foreign policy, academics, think tank people. It was fantastic. I have to say that I enjoyed every minute of it. But the highlight of the event is really the last day when we visited our elected officials. I sat in the offices of Al Franken and Amy Klobuchar and Eric Paulson, and other people visited John Klein, Michelle Bachmann, and Keith Ellison, as well as the others. We sat in their offices and we discussed three things. We discussed the threat of Iran, we discussed foreign aid, and we discussed the issue of Hamas joining the Palestinian Authority. When 10,000 people descend on Washington, who are not paid lobbyists, who spend their own money to go and to sit in their elected representatives' offices to talk about important issues, it has a profound effect. So if you're interested, if you have an interest in politics, if you have an interest in Israel, if you have an interest of educating yourself about the issues, I encourage you to join us at the AIPAC Policy Conference. Adath has some tickets that are discounted tickets for people to come. Come, enjoy, spend time, and do something really important for the state of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.